Alright, hello and welcome to the first stream of Season 3 for Group 2 here in LSR. Welcome to the deserts of Saudi Arabia for this Group 2 LSR Formula 1 Grand Prix. Proud to join you as your host. I'm Bacon Haddock and proud to have the chance to be able to commentate for you today. Looking for a good race. Smaller grid than we had yesterday, only 11 drivers, but still should make it a very interesting race, as we already have one of the Ferraris of either Husky or Reesefoot Gaming coming out of the pit lane, and it is Reese. So this is the first stream that we will be. This is obviously the first stream for Group 2 that we had. Sadly, we're not able to get a stream together last weekend for Group 2. Round 1, which was in Australia, which was won by Bamboo Vegas in that Haas car. Second was Crooner, and then third was Journey 001. Sadly, could not make it today. Hey, what's up, Jonah? But yeah, it should be very interesting race here. Jeddah, obviously, just being added onto the calendar, just in the 2021 season. So let me pull up those maps here as well, just so we have that. But should make it for a very interesting race. Very tight, very high speed, lots of places to make easy mistakes and cause a safety car. It was Group 1 action here with a full grid, with an almost full grid. It was certainly very interesting, so we're hoping for the same here. And as Reese comes here in Sector 3, we'll ride through with a full lap of this Saudi Arabia circuit. And again, was circuit. So obviously coming down this back straight into the back hairpin, where I expect we'll see at least one episode of DRS Chick here tonight. And he's in the wall! Reese into the wall out of the final corner. Does he have wing damage? That is not clear, but he will be continuing on anyway. Down here into turn 1. Hard braking down into there with the DRS wide open. Have to be very careful through this. Chicane here, runs wide enough to just stay within the track limits, and blasts down into turn 3. And now we get into probably the most difficult part of this circuit. This is the very twisty part, very challenging, as shown by Mick Schumacher in this year's qualifying. Very clean, right within the track limits. Can he keep it within? That he can, as he blasts down into this backside hairpin at the end of Sector 1 at 34.4. Down through the hairpin, another place where we could see a lot of mistakes and a lot of overtakes during the race, right out to the wall and powering back down onto this very long back straight section here. Very clean through there, and Reese does have his battery turned off, so he will not be setting a necessarily competitive lap time this time around. So we have a yellow flag just up ahead in Sector 3. But it looks like the Alpine, there is an Alpine behind him that is worried cloud on an outlap. So let's see, who's the next one back? Luke 2 Red is probably going to be the first driver to set a... No, maybe not. He's also recharging. So drivers may be taking some time to warm up those tires. But heading back to the Ferrari of Reese, as he comes to cross the line, he sets a time of a 1:33.632, which is what all the rest of these drivers will be shooting for. Luke 2 Red with a 1:05.4 through that middle sector. Little twitch coming through there, possibly. But down through this hairpin, can he keep it clean and out of the wall? That he can, but traction seems to be a big issue there for Luke 2 Red, as we have a yellow in that second sector. That is the Mercedes of Elgem, letting some cars through. He has invalidated, as Luke 2 Red sets a time of a 1:34.0. Speedy Gunner also follows with a 1:34.0 in that Alfa Romeo, as Danny Stillers goes right to the top in that McLaren with a 1:31.1. Looks like the first very competitive lap time of this outing so far. As we go down the grid, Husky overtakes and goes almost 0.8 clear with a 1:30.3. Driver going to be looking to recover a little bit after a very big struggle. He was reserved in Group 1 yesterday around Miami, which was a very interesting race. I would highly recommend going and watching that, as Crooner, the second place man, last time out in Australia, moves up into P1 in that Red Bull car. The Haas of Bamboo Vegas, winner last time out, he's going to be coming to the line, powers down, super close to that inside wall, and he will take pole with a 129.1, just about pipping him. Elgem in the Mercedes now to the line. He will go ninth, or he will be just starting his lap now for the look of things as we go through. And will likely be one of the last cars to finish that first lap. So again, looks like those front two especially are going to be two to look out for, as they are a full second clear of all the other cars as we look at Elgem come through. Worried Cloud, I believe, seems to be on a lap. Will he pull down the pit lane here? He will not. He will be setting a lap. However, it will be very much uncompetitive as he sets a 153.3. So he will certainly be looking for a better lap. Elgem with a 33.4 in that first sector, through the hairpin, through the chicane that can catch you out easily, and where we could be looking for potentially some track limits, especially if you're going to go wheel to wheel through there. Powering down this back straight into the first of the 3 DRS straights on this circuit. Hey Speedy, what's up? How you doing tonight? Or today, or wherever you might be. Just taking a look at Elgem coming through here as we see a yellow flag for a car yielding slightly. As Elgem through that second DRS zone, wide to the outside, looking to open up this final corner just as much as possible before powering down that back straight. That silver arrow going to be looking to improve from this 10th place spot. Should at least be 8th, and he will go 3rd. He will pip Husky by about 2/10. By exactly 2/10, sorry, to take that 3rd place on the grid. Now, it's going to be, again, was it the order last time that was Bam Crooner? Reesefoot Gaming was in 4th. He's now down in 7th. But again, last time out in Australia, we only had 5 finishers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this ends up panning out. As we see a Ferrari, I believe that is Reese on another outlap. Actually, no, that was Husky coming out of the pit lane. Reese is already out. And that's the Mercedes being just going slowly, or does he have any damage on that car? Turn 22-20, Speedy saying turn 22-23 is the biggest area he lost speed because he hit the wall, which is certainly an area to look out for. I believe, I don't know if that is the last corner or the last couple of corners, but that's certainly a place to look out for damages. It's very easy on this very, very tight circuit to just lose the back end slightly and go out into that outside wall. So I believe Luke 2 Red has invalidated his lap that he's on. He will be boxing after this almost certainly, as he is rather low on fuel after setting a lap time to put him in P6. Taking a look at that. I believe the next person to really set a lap will be Reesefoot Gaming, as he set that first lap time to put on the board, in and out to warm up those soft tires. Obviously running very low to the ground, those sparks popping up. The Ferraris both coming at each other with speed, as Husky will take that first spot, and Reese will likely tuck in behind him to try and get something going. Alright, so here's the run hard down into turn 1 for Husky. Those Ferraris working together in a similar fashion to how we saw in France just about a month or so ago. Cleanly through turn 1 and 2 go the both of them, as they blast down into this tight, twisty section. Very, very important to be careful through here, as just one little touch on the curb could be deadly. Seems very clean, nice 2 wheels on the inside there, cutting that bit of the curb very nicely. As Husky's teammate, as Husky is up 4/10 now, much better than that first time around. Through this hairpin on the far side of the circuit, as heads on to basically the back straight of this circuit. Very clean through there, very twitchy, nice and well out to the wall as they head back down onto this DRS straight. Just going to be waiting for the next sector time to pop up here. There is an Alpine as Husky goes purple in that middle sector. He's now 6/10 up on his previous lap time. Not quite good enough to get onto that front row, but we'll have to see how this final sector goes and see if he can get any closer. Blasting down into this last hairpin where we saw Max Verstappen hit the wall back in 2021. Very clean through there, not hitting the wall, but should be clean. Powers onto this back straight as his teammate comes in behind him. Husky will put in a respectable 129.6, improving by almost 3/4 of a second. Reesport Gaming will not improve from the 7th place we saw him at. Looking back to the Alfa Romeo of Speedy Gunner, who seems to be on a recharge lap, if that battery is correct. Yes, he is. I didn't realize he was on an out lap. But he will be looking to start a lap here and improve from that P8 position after dropping a little bit of fuel as was needed, as it looks like. I think, who is that? Is that there's a Red Bull coming to the line. Crooner and Uner is going to be looking to pit Bamboo Vegas as he starts his lap. Vegas comes to the line, and he improves up to a 128.5, improving by almost half a second. Track definitely seems to be ramping up here as Danny Stillers comes to the line. He will not improve from 5th, but does improve by half a second. I believe that is the... Who was that just crossed the line? I believe that was the Luke Tourette of... I believe that was Formula Jonah who just crossed the line. He is in 9th currently. As we flip over to the Alpine here of Worried Cloud, will certainly improve from that 153.3, certainly due to a mistake on his first lap. He comes to the line now, and will go 10th fastest, and will go 6th fastest, improving nicely. We got the Ferraris coming back around and through as Elgem on an outlap, but heading back to that Alfa Romeo, who'll be the next to cross the line, up 8/10 now. So certainly putting in a much quicker lap time than the last go-around. DRS wide open in the back, blasting down with the Red Bull and Haas following close behind. Those cars who will be battling for pole position like we saw last year with Mango and Yuki, likely to be the two cars battling away at the front. Here comes Speedy Gamer to the line. He will improve to 7th. Crooner comes to the line behind him, and he just misses it out on that pole time. Less than 100th down, or just over 1 down, on Bamboo Vegas's time. And so that will bring it right down to the wire between those two, who are clearly in a league of their own, at almost 1.1 seconds ahead of Husky 13, up back in 3rd. So this is likely to be a 2-horse race at the front if everything holds, which will certainly make for a very interesting race as this continues. So we got about 5 minutes left in qualifying. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the field ends up shaping together as this qualifying comes to a close. Should be enough time to get one more lap in, as Husky 13 looking to get a jump early, perhaps carrying a little bit extra fuel just to make sure that he is able to run a second lap should the tires give way slightly. As Elgem pips it up to 3rd. I just missed that because I was checking my phone. That is a very poor thing to do, and I paid for it. Elgem up into 3rd, pipping Husky by, 5 thousandths? Yeah, that is 5 thousandths that Elgem will pip over Husky for that P3 position. So that could be very interesting, as we have Elgem and Husky battling out for those second row positions, as well as Danny and Reed Cloud on that 3rd row, and we could easily see Speedy, Luke Red, Reese, Jonah, or Ethan, easily make a jump up the grid and really throw this into a bit of a chaotic scene. So Husky really the only driver on track right now looking to set a competitive time as he blasts down towards turn 1, sparks flying out of the back of that Scarlet Ferrari, down through those first couple corners. Nice and out wide, well extending the track. Powering down now into turn 3. Very clean through here, through this sort of S's portion. Right here is where we saw Mick Schumacher crash, and a little bit of a twitch there from Husky. Manages to keep it together, and just off of that curb, down just under 3/10 from his previous time. And now he only has to improve by 5 thousandths to improve up that grid. Again, only driver out on track right now, setting a competitive lap time with just under 3 minutes to go here in qualifying. So should be very good here, very tight to that wall. He blasts down this second DRS straight. Very clean. Can he get this chicane right here? Drops into 6th gear. Powers through 2 wheels on that outside curb and very close to the walls, as is necessary here. Jeddah, one of the most beautiful and also challenging tracks that's most enjoyable on a hot lap, in my personal opinion. Blasts down, hard braking, looking to carry good speed in 3rd gear through here. Pretty narrow through there, but is able to open up the corner nicely. Blasts towards the line. Can he improve? Yes, he can, by almost 3.5 tenths up into P3. And then he may have one more shot in order to set another lap, but he is low on fuel, so that is likely it for his qualifying. But a very respectable P3 should that stand. As we have a number of drivers looking to come around. I believe the next driver to set a lap should be Reesefoot Gaming, just finishing up his hot lap now in the 2nd Ferrari seat, coming to the line to start his final lap. He will be looking to improve significantly from this 133.6 that he set on 133.6 that he has on his previous lap, as the Ferrari of Reesefoot Gaming seems to have stopped for some reason to let that McLaren of Danny Stillers through. I don't think Reese will be able to set another lap time in order to do that, so I believe Reesefoot Gaming will remain in P10. Speedy Gunner now should be the next person to cross the line and set a lap time as he comes through. Let's see how his first sector is. Nice and clean through that section. 5th and 6th gear through there. A lot fairly cleaner than we saw Husky go through there, but perhaps a little bit slower. As Speedy Gunner up 1 second already on his previous lap time. Through that hairpin, and will now blast down a little bit tight through there, but looking to keep it clean as he blasts down into here. There are so many corners that I don't remember the numbers. Very close to the track limits there as Speedy Gunner loses it into the wall and will lose a bit of that front wing. And that will likely be it for his qualifying. He's likely to not improve from 7th. We had his Formula Jonah in the Williams up a 10th, which as of right now would not be enough. Let's see if he can put a better lap time up on that board. Coming through now, blasting down into the hairpin. Should have that Ferrari up ahead of Reesefoot Gaming, just up ahead, who will be coming across to set a lap time. Obviously down, not going to be setting another competitive lap time. He will miss out, and his qualifying is over. Here comes Jonah to the line. What will he set? Jonah will move up to 5th. He must have had an issue in that final sector that meant his time shot right up that board. Speedy Gunner, obviously missing that rear wing, will not set a better lap, as Luke 2 Red seems to have set a purple middle sector. Can he pull anything up the board and potentially challenge for those more front position? The number 2 Williams, out of that final corner, blasts towards the line now. Can he improve? We'll find out in just a second. To 7th place, the Haas now of Bamboo Vegas. A slight gap back to Crooner. Can he improve? Let's see. Bamboo Vegas through the final corner in the Haas will be very close to that pit lane entry line, as you must do in order to gain those critical thousandths. Can he go quicker? Yes, he will improve by 0.2 of a second. And the Mercedes of Elgin do anything now to come to the line. He was just down on his time. Can he jump Husky? He will not. He will drive into the pit lane. Let's see. Can anybody else challenge? I believe Crooner can as he comes out of that final corner, but his ERS is not deployed. Can he challenge for anything as he comes to the line? He cannot, so it will be Bamboo Vegas on pole, unless Danny Stillers here, who has invalidated, can clear the time. So it will be Bamboo Vegas, last week's race winner, on pole, with Crooner just behind in second in that Red Bull Husky in the Ferrari in third, Elgem, followed by Formula Jonah, Danny Stillers, Luke 2 Red, and I'm not fully sure of the rest of the grid if you will give me a couple of seconds to let that time pop out. But we should have a number of interesting battles throughout the grid, even if they're separate. So there it's Bamboo Vegas from Crooner, followed by Husky, Elgem, Formula Jonah, Danny Stillers, Luke 2 Red and Worried Cloud, Speedy Gunner, Reefs Hood Gaming, and Erickson Ethan, who did not set a lap time, which should at least make it for a very, very interesting grid, as we're likely to see Bamboo versus Crooner, Husky and Elgem, and then the rest of the grid from Formula Jonah, probably down to Erickson Ethan, battling it out for those positions, which will make it a certainly interesting race. Okay, quick breath now. Time for a push, says Speedy Gunner. I think that's necessary here. I'm not sure quite the statistics, but I'm pretty sure in the game itself, Crofty has some statistic about how much you're on the throttle the whole time. And Gunner with a little bit of fighting words saying Jonah will only see the alpha rear wing. I believe that is a challenge. We'll have to see if Jonah is able to respond to that. But again, with only an 11-car grid, I don't know how likely we are to see a safety car, but we'll have to see here. Alright. Now I have a couple seconds to catch my breath. I'm going to stay standing up now, just in case something interesting happens. As turn 1 and 2 here, very, very tight and could lead to a very interesting first lap where you could gain and lose a significant number of positions. So we'll have to see what all these strategies are, as we do have the formation lap turned on here. As they all start to pull away, let's see if we can figure out what strategy all these tires are on. So the Haas will be starting of Bamboo Vegas out in front, will be starting the mediums, as will the Red Bull. Husky in third will be starting on the hards. And let's see, and I believe, and we have Luke 2 Red behind on the softs, just trying to get those tires warmed up. So let's see, let's get that tire menu up. Fast lap, nope. Leader, there we go. So that's better. So the only drivers not on those medium tires, which seem to be the way to go from the start in these conditions, is Husky in third on those hard tires, which would be very difficult to get warmed up, and Luke 2 Red in seventh on those softs, who will likely have a brilliant getaway, but how long will those tires last? Again, I think we're likely to see a long battle between Bamboo Vegas and Crooner here up at the front. But certainly, Husky in third on those hards. How quickly can he get those into an operating window and get to work on whatever positions he may lose here at the start? Obviously, manual grid formation as the drivers continue to make their way around the circuit, about halfway there. Still making their way. Pack bunching up behind that Haas. We got Erickson Ethan will be the one to bring it to the line in that Alpine car. Again, if you are looking to potentially join some, as real quickly, I will talk about the predicted pit stop strategy, as all the cars bunching up there. But it looks like Luke 2 Red may be going for a 2-stop, soft to medium to hard, or perhaps a soft to medium soft, as he may have saved a set of tires. But the medium hard definitely seems to be that preferred strategy here around Jeddah. So should Bamboo Vegas coming around the last turn here, should be getting up to the line, as we can see drivers doing some burnouts to get temperature into the tires, as Husky almost goes all the way out into the pit lane wall there, as they now look to line up manual grid formation, which we're obviously seeing for the first time here live here. Let's see how many drivers can get it right. As Husky gets disqualified, he will start from further back. And let's see, Formula Jonah as well will start from slightly further behind, as Erickson Ethan pulls in. And let's see, so we should be just about all set. Let's see. as we have a camera angle from behind. And we are underway here in Jeddah. Solid start from Gruner, who will look to jump Bamboo Vegas near the start. He's to the inside, and he has the lead here as Husky drops way down the order. He's down in 7th off the start. Bamboo Vegas, Gruner will be solidly through. Elgem right on the back wing of Bamboo Vegas, looking to make a move as they come into this twisty section. But Gruner already pulling a sizable gap. Luke 2 Reg behind in the soft-tired Williams with a solid start. He's up into 4th. As down the order, there seems to be a lot of very close battle going on as Gruner has already pulled a 2nd on the Haas car behind him. And 4/10 then separate the Haas and the Williams behind. As Husky had a terrible start, he's back down in 8th. Danny Stillers as well, he's been struggling. He's down at the back of the grid, as there's a nice 3-way battle going on back there. And then Speedy Gunner must have had problems. He's back with Jonah and Husky, as there's already a sizable gap. Gruner, half a second up on that Haas car, but seems to be running a little bit more downforce, as that gap has been brought down almost 4/10 of a second down this back straight. As Bamboo Vegas has tucked in, Elgem sticking with them, as this is already a 3-car breakaway here at the front. Already taking a look at off that start, Danny Stillers and Husky, the biggest losers, at 5 places down. As Speedy Gunner and Formula Jonah are going at it. They're going to be side by side, coming back down that pit straight and into turn 1. And going to be looking to switch sides as the Alfa Romeo pulls to the inside. Williams not quite enough pace to pull alongside. They go through the chicane rather cleanly. And keep it as the Williams, who is that? That is Luke 2 Red in the wall. He has completely lost his front wing. Missed what happened there, as we already, I believe, have a full course safety car here on lap 2. No DNFs here, as with Luke 2 Red's, I believe, spin. We now have our first safety car of this race. Whew. So that's gonna certainly tighten up that pack out at the front, and it'll be interesting to see who, if anybody, potentially will change their strategy here. Oh no, it was a virtual safety car. It was not a full safety car, as we are back underway here. Pack certainly tightened up between Gruner, Bamboo Vegas, and Elgem as they power down here in through sector 3. Only 1 second separating those 3 cars, as DRS not going to be activated this time or will be down the next one, as Bamboo Vegas certainly quicker than Gruner in that Red Bull as they power down this pit straight here. Much better traction from that Red Bull car, as DRS is now enabled, which will certainly make for a very interesting battle with these 3 here at the front, with Worried Cloud sitting about 4.6 seconds back, looking to make a move, as Danny Stillers will overtake Luke 2 Red, who has just dove into the pits to fix that front wing damage with that Williams. So it'll be certainly interesting. I assume he will go to hards and potentially go to the end. As the Red Bull of Gruner taps the wall there, he may have damage as well. How will that impact the battle with Bamboo Vegas in this Haas car behind him? Let's see. Is there any visible damage on that Red Bull? Not necessarily that either. It will certainly be interesting to try and pick out if there is any significant damage to that car. He seems to be handling it okay for the moment. But as Bamboo Vegas, DRS going to be open here, wide open at that back, 4/10 and closing, in a car that seems to be carrying much less downforce than that Red Bull. He will certainly be looking to take him on this last hairpin, as Ericsson Ethan is the first of, I would assume, many to receive a 3-second time penalty. And there's that Haas of Bamboo Vegas looking to the inside, and he will retake the lead down here into that final turn. But the Red Bull of Gruner is going to have another bite here back down the pit straight. Will he be able to re-overtake that Haas into turn 1? That DRS back wide open. Similar scenes to how we saw in the actual race between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, and Crooner will not be able to get the move done. Bamboo Vegas will retain the lead as we are onto lap number 4 out of 25. As there is a three-way battle going on back here between the AlphaTauri, the Ferrari, and the Williams, as they might go, as there are 3 cars there within almost half a second, as they are nose to tail moving through there. Whew. Very close here. Will Husky be looking for a move? I believe as Husky is round. Husky is spun in Sector 2 here. I believe he managed to keep it mostly out of the wall, but that will be very, very difficult to make up as he will ghost here through Ericsson Ethan, and will be back on the way. We'll use some DRS and we'll be able to re-overtake. But looking back to the front, Bamboo Vegas certainly carrying less downforce than the Red Bull of Crooner, who seems to be having a much larger challenge overtaking the Haas than when it was the other way around. 2 DRS runs to go. Can the Red Bull and the Haas breaking away from the Williams, as was to be expected by those quali times? But Bamboo Vegas certainly setting that pace in that number 92 here in Saudi Arabia. Can he keep him behind as we run back down to turn 1 again? Just cutting across that white line just enough. Tight to the wall. Here comes that Red Bull. Looks to the outside this time, but he will be covered off by Bamboo Vegas, who will hold that P1 into that first turn, as they are still right up next to each other. 2 tenths separating them as they run down into the twistier part of Sector 1. As Speedy Gunner into the pits, I believe he must have had wing damage. Yes, his rear wing is also gone. Husky has elected to stay out, so it doesn't seem that his wing damage is significant, as he's now behind Ericsson Ethan, looking to get past that Alpine, who seems to be having some troubles with the downforce on his car. Certainly very challenging to overtake in places as they almost come together, and Husky, a little tap at the back of Ericsson Ethan, who was already going off circuit, will overtake him, as Husky will have to cut the corner there in order to keep his car going the right way. But the big thing up front, Bamboo Vegas pulled almost half a second already back to that Red Bull, and certainly cleaner through that fast chicane in between those two, the DRS zone 1 and 2, as you can see from this brilliant little helicopter shot down here into this final hairpin. Half a second now separates the 2 in the back, as worried Cloud and Formula Jonah will be going at it. Can Cloud keep Jonah behind, as Jonah with DRS will look around the outside as they pass under that Aramco barrier? It'll be Jonah who takes 4th place away from the Alpine, but he will have to defend back down into turn 1 now, as the Alpine, likely to be burning some ERS, will dive into the pit lane here on lap 6. Does worried Cloud need to have a front wing change now? As Luke 2 Red out of the session, is that due to that may be due to a crash there in the middle of Sector 2. So down to 10 drivers now. Let's see if we can spot the incident as we go past it here with the Haas, who certainly seems to be setting a very dangerous pace when compared to Crooner, as the incident is cleared, so we will not be having a safety car here. So already pulled the gap out to about 7 tenths now, Bamboo Vegas. Seems to have about 43% battery, but with Crooner behind sitting at about 60, certainly the Red Bull can at least keep pace with this Haas ahead and look to potentially try and take that position off of strategy, which I think will be the name of the game here between these 2 drivers as they battle at the front the entire 14 race season. And certainly if you're just dropping in for the first time, welcome to Group 2. There's certainly a number of open grid slots left. I believe there may be a link to the Discord in the description. If not, I can certainly send it out to anybody who needs it, as it looks like Reese beginning to Ethan go wheel to wheel there, as Reese will overtake Ericsson, who may have had an issue down through that chicane. But the pack really settling in here into their own races apart from these 2 at the front. If you're just joining, it's been Bamboo and Crooner fairly well at the front here. Obviously, Luke 2 Red, the only DNF so far. But as they blast down to the hairpin, it will be Crooner pulling that gap a little bit closer as they go through the hairpin. And very clean from these drivers, both on those yellow rim, yellow walled medium tires. As they go through this quick little left, right left flick. As they blast down, there's a yellow flag for Jonah. Has Jonah had a spin? Does he have damage? Certainly does not look like he has damaged that front wing, but perhaps an incident similar to Mick Schumacher's in qualifying, where he got a little bit out wide onto that corner, onto that curb on exit, and the car just simply went round on him. So he has now dropped to 6th, and Husky, after spinning earlier in the race on those hard tires, has recovered now up into 5th after starting 3rd. And he will now be looking to chase down that McLaren of Danny Stillers. But again, the main question at the front, who will be ahead Bamboo or Vegas as we inch closer and closer to this pit stop phase? Looking at probably about lap 11 for any pit stops to come about as we go on board here with the Haas through this very tight, challenging section that's very easy to get wrong, very difficult to overtake at as well. But very comfortable through here at about 120 miles an hour. Keeps it very clean, good exit out of there as Crooner still right on his gearbox. 4/10 separates the pair as they keep it clean. Obviously, Aljam's still waiting in the wings for if an incident takes place between these two cars. Looking to keep it clean as they come down to this DRS zone. The gap already increased by 3/10 from when we last checked in. So obviously the Haas is able to run significantly less downforce than the Red Bull. And so could that make the difference out here in the desert? As they come down here, blast towards this final corner. Can they keep it clean as Speedy Gunner overtakes Worried Cloud slightly down the order? But certainly these two in a class of their own right now. Going at it hammer and tongs. Not necessarily hammer and tongs, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. That is Worried Cloud, I believe. He is in the wall, just out of that final corner on those soft tires. Certainly struggling through there, and has lost a significant gap back to Speedy Gunner. So I think certainly with the pace that the Haas is showing, I think it's likely that we are going to have to wait to see an overtake until that pit stop phase, at which point they are likely to go at it. Danny Husky, meanwhile, has closed up nicely to Danny Stillers. He's just about in DRS range of that McLaren, and should be having a chance at overtaking in the next couple of laps. As we have another yellow flag, is that Worried Cloud? That is Worried Cloud with another spin, perhaps struggling with those soft tires overheating just a little bit, as is a common challenge since the 1.006 update, but certainly struggling with some sort of grip through this race. Those tires must be roasting if that lack of grip is anything to go off of, and is certainly a challenge to get on the power. He's likely to pull into the pit lane here for a fresh set of tires. Very much challenging for Worried Cloud, who's able to get it stopped as he pulls in here. But again, Bamboo Vegas looking to potentially dummy a little bit there as we move on to lap 10. Still comfortably enough ahead of that Red Bull, who hasn't really had a chance at overtaking since he was overtaken back on lap 4. And Bamboo Vegas has led the way since. Since Danny Stillers and Husky are going to be going at it. Could we see... should be the Ferrari looking for a chance on that McLaren as they run down here into turn number 1. Is there enough room to get it done? No, not quite. That McLaren has just enough pace to keep the Ferrari behind, but it definitely seems like those hard tires are now being quicker as Formula Jonah is one of the first to dive into that pit lane to switch off of these medium tires. What set of tires will he be switching to, or is this to change front wing damage? He did have front wing damage, as that right side front end plate is missing from that Williams. But again, so he will be coming out, likely to try to finish the race on a set of hards. You can see that Haas just using a little bit more of that outside curb, of that inside curb, rather, through the chicane there, and just able to carry a little bit more speed as Danny Stillers and Husky going at it wheel to wheel. Husky up the inside, and he will take that position after overtaking, I believe, out of that hairpin as the McLaren, now with DRS, looking to make a move back at him. Can he, the McLaren up the inside, he thinks better of it, stays behind, is going to look for a better move down these next two DRS zones. Can the McLaren keep pace with Husky and that Ferrari, who dropped back to 8th or 9th on that start after starting 3rd on the hard tires? Can he keep him ahead? The Ferrari a little bit slow out of that corner. Can he keep the McLaren behind as they come down towards turn 1? And Danny Stillers looks up the inside. Can he get him down into that braking zone? He is a car ahead and he is clear. Husky looking to fight it, but not quite going to have the room to stick it back up the inside. And Danny Stillers reclaims that 4th place from the Dutchman. So again, that battle is likely to continue for some time as Husky still right on the back of that McLaren. Certainly one of the closer battles that we've had today, outside of Bamboo Vegas and Crooner on the opening laps, as Husky will go to the outside there, a little bit wide, and will take a 3-second time penalty, but will get past Danny Stillers' McLaren. Can he now stay ahead as Speedy Gunner dives into the pit lane? I believe as Ericsson Ethan has also now retired from the session. I believe that was in the pit lane, so we are unlikely to see a safety car. As Speedy Gunner onto those white-walled hard compound tires out in P8. As Bamboo Vegas and Crooner dive into the pit lane. Bamboo Vegas has a 5-second time penalty for speeding. So does that mean that Crooner in that Red Bull can potentially jump way out into the lead? However, the pit stops here, it'll be the Haas still ahead of the Red Bull. Let's take a look at the penalties here. That's certainly something important to look at, but Bamboo Vegas with a 5-second time penalty already for speeding in the pit lane as they come out of the pit lane and look to warm up these hard compound tires. So Vegas will now need to push like hell in order to make that 5-second gap not a fault. Big mistake there from the Haas, who seemed to be dominating the race up until this point, even if the Red Bull was keeping him honest. As Resput Gaming also with a 5-second penalty in that Ferrari will be jumping into the pit lane to switch over to that hard tire. And he is back out and underway as Husky and Elgem now going at it. Elgem, of course, having just pitted in his Mercedes for looking to go long and for another couple of laps in order to get those mediums on. As Formula Jonah up ahead of Resput Gaming's Ferrari. Those two will be looking to battle for the next couple of laps. But the Haas and the Red Bull now back together and battling at it. 6/10 separate the pair. If you're just joining us, it's been Bamboo Vegas and Crooner ahead for the majority of this race. But in a pit stop just this lap, Bamboo Vegas critically sped at the pit lane entrance and picked up a 5-second time penalty, which means the advantage largely goes to the Red Bull of Crooner, who has struggled to overtake that Haas even with the use of DRS. As that Haas, already purple in that final sector, certainly very dangerous. But we'll have to see how that goes as Elgem re-overtakes Husky down into turn 1 with DRS in that Mercedes on those fresh hard tires. Now Husky is going to be looking to pull out a significant enough gap to Danny Stillers behind to be able to pit and come out in front. Those two battling in the previous laps So will he continue to battle with the Mercedes or perhaps sit behind him as Bamboo Vegas potentially has broken a gap back to Crooner, who may have made a significant mistake in that first sector. Also, something to consider, the back marker of Roy Cloud is coming up. So could Bamboo Vegas potentially pick up DRS from that Alpine and potentially break away from Crooner's Red Bull? I think that's likely because the gap right now is 1.2 seconds, which means that Crooner has lost that DRS that was keeping him very close to the Haas car. 1.1 seconds still the gap. So DRS has now been broken, and the Haas now with a chance to pull away from that Red Bull in a very important battle. And does that Haas have DRS now? Not quite. It was just missed out on as Bamboo Vegas sets a new fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.9. So we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. That looks to be Formula Jonah in his Williams. Does he have damage after a spin out of that hairpin there? It does not look like it. The end plates seem okay. However, there could be a difference between what we see and how that car actually is. So that is an important thing to keep in mind. As we now see these two cars, the gap now 1.2 seconds from Bamboo Vegas to Crooner as the Alpine gets out of the way for the Haas. So that's as Crooner going to be looking to close that gap up and re-pick up that DRS within a second now. So now it's a time trial between these two drivers over these last 12 laps. Husky dropped 2 seconds now to that Mercedes. He's obviously on much more worn, hard tires than anybody else right now. As we take a look at the tires, as Reesewood Gaming picks up an additional 3-second penalty due to corner cutting lately. So taking a look at the entire grid, everybody's on hard tires. The only outstanding driver in that pack is Husky 13. Still has to pit and has a nice 23-second gap almost back to Danny Stillers. So will certainly come out very close to that McLaren car. Well, the main story at the front for now will be constantly looking at that gap between Bamboo Vegas and Crooner to see if Bamboo Vegas can pull out a 5-second gap to the Red Bull behind him, as Speedy Gunner now also picks up a 3-second time penalty, as we now see Husky coming into the pits. Where will he come out relative to that McLaren behind him? Yellow and hard tires from that Ferrari team. Decent stop, a little bit slow there, as he also needs a front wing change. So he was running with front wing damage for the entirety of that lap. He will come out and trundle down the pit lane. Here comes that McLaren down the pit straight, and they will be fairly even coming across the start-finish line. How far back will that Ferrari be from the McLaren? Fairly close, seems to be less than a second, so that could be a battle to keep an eye out on, as Husky looks to improve his position and perhaps, if he has enough pace, chase down Elgem for that third place that he started from. This field now coming especially strung out. Obviously about a 20 or so second gap from Reesewood Gaming up to Husky in the Ferraris. But certainly a number of mistakes that have led the field to lengthen out. But how consistent can Bamboo Vegas be? The championship leader, the winner out back in Australia. Can he keep pace going enough to pull it out? He's only pulled a couple of tenths each lap, but that could be enough would an issue befall that Red Bull. Very easy to lose focus for just a moment and lead to a major slip-up and error, as Husky now overtakes Danny Stillers as they go side by side now. The McLaren on the outside, which becomes the inside of this next bit. Who has DRS here? As the McLaren and the Ferrari make contact. The McLaren into the side pod as the Ferrari takes the advantage there. Very close and contentious battle between the two. The McLaren perhaps with a slight twitch. McLaren now having DRS down this back straight. The Ferrari guarding the inside, going towards that wall. ERS light blinking at the back as the McLaren soars by down the inside as Husky retains that position, late braking around the outside to retain that fourth position. that was a brilliant little move and a battle that should be going on for a number more laps. The Ferraris now looking to pull out a gap on those first mediums as there's a little bump on the curb there, and the Ferrari runs a little bit wide, is able to keep a decent gap. Now up a second to the McLaren behind, even with that mistake that could have been very, very fatal for the Ferrari driver. Again, looking for a little bit of redemption after a very challenging day yesterday in Miami with changeable conditions. I would highly recommend going and watching that race. It was certainly very, very interesting. Changeable conditions, great commentary led by one of our drivers here today, Formula Jonah. So I would definitely go check that out if you have some time. As we continue to watch a second and a half, now the gap from Husky to Danny Stillers. He's almost certainly pulled away from that McLaren driver as Mango is in the chat. Hello, Mango. Certainly a fairly tame race considering there are 9 cars remaining, but especially right now, doing quite well, Mango. How about yourself? But we got Bamboo Vegas trying to just pull that little bit away from Crooner as he has a 5-second time penalty from speeding in the pit lane. Obviously, I believe the fastest lap still goes to Bamboo Vegas, as we'll have it that is Speedy Gunner with an incident. His front wing is gone, and is that a full safety car or a virtual safety car for now? Will it become a full safety car as that Alfa Romeo looks to recover? Currently a virtual safety car for the moment, as that Alfa Romeo will certainly have to pit. As you can see, the VSC boards believe that Haas and Red Bull have to yield. But this certainly brings that pack closer together, as Crooner and Bamboo Vegas must respect that delta. The gap, which was at 2 seconds, as they are given the green light, and the gap is now back down from 2 seconds to just under 7/10. Could that mean that Bamboo Vegas has essentially lost this race because of that mistake from Speedy Gunner? And that's definitely something to look at. And can Crooner just win the race outright? Could LGM potentially be in the mix now to move a step higher on the podium, as that Mercedes is only 6 seconds back of this leading pair? He's shown very solid pace after starting, I believe, P4. Let me just pull up the detail quickly. Yes, so the Mercedes started P4, was able to jump Husky off the start, and has shown very respectable pace throughout this race to remain at least in the conversation for a podium, and has pulled a 28-second gap back to Husky, who's also started P3, and has had a nice recovery drive after struggling with those hard tires in the opening laps. Again, DRS now back open for that Red Bull car as they come down into this first DRS zone. I will certainly learn the corner numbers for the next time out, but as they come blast down, it's purple in that second sector for Crooner as he looks to keep pace with this Haas. 8.5 tenths, 8 tenths the gap, and closing, but not necessarily all that quickly. Very clean and in through that final corner. The Red Bull with a slightly better run, seemingly, but that pace of the Haas is very solid as we cross the line with about 7 laps to go. Sector, as we have Speedy Gunner with another incident. He has once again lost his front wing at the same chicane he lost it last time. However, this time it looks like there will be no virtual safety car. But that's certainly a place where there's a lot of struggle, especially on rather cold tires, which may in fact be those medium tires that he started the race on, and it's clearly difficult to go through there. Will he dive into the pit lane here? Yes, he will, with just about 6 laps, with just a few laps to go, and he picks up a 5-second penalty, and it just goes from bad to worse as Speedy Gunner has retired from the session. Certainly a challenging day for the Alfa Romeo, as 2 incidents have really ruined that race for him, as Bamboo Vegas already pulling a gap a little bit more out to Crooner behind him. Again, a battle that's very important that's very interesting to watch, is Husky has already bridged that 3-second gap. As the Ferrari, is that a Ferrari in the wall? That is Husky, who has had an incident. He's going to have to battle back with that McLaren of Danny Stiller's. Does he have any damage from that? It's not apparent from these camera shots if he does, but certainly those mediums are going to start being worn and potentially overheated due to that spin. So 1.1 seconds of the gap, that's going to be another battle there to keep an eye on, as it's really Bamboo Vegas versus Crooner and Danny Stillers versus 13 that are the two major battles here and could be decided by penalties. As Danny's able to bridge just enough of a gap through that DRS detection point to keep the Ferrari behind him, but Husky will be able to close up and in the next couple of laps should be able to at least put an attempt at a move on the McLaren. But that McLaren seems to have a little bit more ERS than the Ferrari behind him and is able to stay out of the DRS detection zone, even if just for a moment. The red light and the Ferrari flashing on the back, could that be potentially problematic for the Ferrari? Speedy Gunner saying all his dry tires are above 35% wear. Certainly is a struggle to keep those tires on when they're worn. Definitely tough luck this weekend, and hoping he gets some better luck in the coming races. But again, looking to the front, Bamboo Vegas continuing to stretch his legs as the gap is now 2.3 seconds from the Haas back to the Red Bull. The Haas certainly with the red light flashing, as does that Red Bull car. So both drivers rather low on ERS now. How much can Bamboo Vegas lengthen the gap over these last 5 laps? He needs another about 2.5 seconds in order to secure this win. If he doesn't, I believe the Drivers' Championship will be tied heading into round 2, and the only team with 2 cars left in the race is that Ferrari team in 5th and 6th. As Husky, within 0.2 of Danny Stiller's as they come down this back straight. DRS open in the back for the Ferrari. He's going to look to the outside as they run down towards the hairpin. Sparks flying out the back. Mediums on the Ferrari, hards on the McLaren. Husky perhaps waiting to get this extra little lick of DRS as they come down the pit straight. Can Husky make the move now on Danny Stiller's, or is there not enough room to quite get it done? He's going to look to the outside now. As they go down into turn 1, saw a lot of battles. He's going to stick his nose in there, but not quite going to have the room in order to get the move done. He's going to have to wait until a little bit later in order to try to overtake that McLaren. Another important thing to consider for Husky is that he then needs to pull a 3-second gap to Danny Stiller's with medium tires on, as we are likely now approaching the crossover point. Husky runs a little bit wide out of that corner. Will he be looking to make a move into the hairpin? I think so. Looks to the inside, but there's not quite a move there, so he'll back out. Can he get a traction on? He sticks to the inside wall there, out of that hairpin. Can he get a move to the outside now? He's going to go for it. Around the outside, the Ferrari is going to slightly cut the corner, but he is just slightly behind now. Let's see, who got the DRS detection point there? I think it might have been the McLaren. Can't quite tell from how far up we are, but the Ferrari and the McLaren battling out here in the Jeddah night here. Is the Ferrari going to be looking for that move now? Closing in. He's going to look to the inside here after looking to the outside a couple of times. As they make contact, and there goes the Ferrari. The Ferrari is round. The Ferrari Husky spins round after trying to look up the inside on Danny Stiller's. And that will likely be it for Husky, and he has potentially received some front wing damage there. We'll have to see here as he comes down this pit lane. Will that front wing be changed? But that's it for the battle between the McLaren and the Ferrari, as yes, Ferrari's Husky does need that front wing changed. Great battle for while it was there, but certainly disappointing to see it end like that. This was a great battle between the two, but I think Husky just getting a little bit desperate to try to get the move done to pull out the 3-second gap in these last 4 laps now. Just tried to make a move. and will now be looking potentially to bag that fastest lap. So we now go back to the front. The gap now 3 seconds from Bamboo Vegas back to Crooner. We're going to have to constantly look at this Haas car to see if he can stay ahead now. Certainly going to be a challenge with only 3 laps to go to pull out that gap. But with these hard tires getting more and more worn, will Crooner, whose car relies largely on that downforce as we saw earlier in this race, potentially have a challenge at keeping up? Or will his tires perhaps last that little bit better than the Haas out in front, and will he be able to steal his first win in Group 2 in Season 3? As they come down this back straight now, the back markers as well could play another important role, as Formula Jonah not too far ahead of that Haas. Could the DRS toe potentially allow that Haas to break a little bit further away from the Red Bull behind, and potentially lead to Bamboo Vegas taking back-to-back victories here? 3.3 seconds the gap, with just as they come down through Sector 3. Switching back to Bamboo Vegas quickly, down into this final hairpin, keeping the car fairly well under control, but about 2 laps to go now. How much ERS was it overtake active now? 3.5 seconds the gap. It was significantly improved, as I believe that Red Bull had a bit of a challenge coming out of that final corner. So this is going to be very, very close between the Red Bull and the Haas of who will come out on top here. 3.6 seconds now the gap, or it was 3 seconds just 1 lap ago. As Bamboo Vegas moves closer and closer to that Williams, who is now ghosted and receiving blue flags, and will likely pull out of the way before the next DRS detection point. Pulls to the inside, and there goes the Haas, so he will not receive any DRS this lap. Comes around the hairpin where we've seen multiple incidents thus far tonight, and blasts down that back straight. The gap now down to 3.5 seconds, as Crooner looking to do everything he can to keep that gap under 5 seconds. 3.6 seconds the gap now, and this is the point where that Red Bull really starts struggling against that Haas, already up to 3.7 seconds and climbing. Again, both cars running critically low on ERS, so going to be very difficult to judge who has the best chance of winning this race here. As Husky 13 now pips the fastest lap in that Scuderia Ferrari. Can he steal? He's likely to steal that extra point. He's the only driver left on hard tires. But here we go to start the final lap of this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's Bamboo Vegas crossing the line with about a 4-second gap back to Crooner. He needs an extra second here. Down through the first couple of corners, very clean from the Haas. Can the gap just slightly increasing, but this is where Crooner is certainly stronger through here than that Haas car. 4 seconds still the gap as they blast their way through Sector 2. It's just a little bit of braking as you go through this section here. And then you blast down into the section where there was DRS last year, but no DRS this year as you go down into the hairpin. And keeping the traction out of control, wanting to ride nice and wide to carry as much speed as you can out of that hairpin. The gap is now at 4.3 seconds and climbing. Can Bamboo Vegas in this section where the Haas is much, much stronger keep ahead, or will Crooner get DRS from this Williams ahead of him? I think he might, and that may save his race win. The gap is now 4.5 seconds back to Crooner as the rear wing is open for the Red Bull. Has Formula Jonah potentially just assisted Crooner into winning this race? Crooner, Bamboo Vegas, 4.7 seconds now the gap. This is going to be significantly close. A quarter of a second now, effectively splitting the two. As Bamboo Vegas, out of that final corner to the line, it's going to be fairly close, but the gap is now a quarter of a second. 2/10 as Bamboo Vegas currently is the winner. And Crooner is the winner of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix by just about 1/10 of a second after that penalty from Bamboo Vegas. Oh boy, that was close. And that mistake from Bamboo Vegas back on lap 11 when entering the pit lane has ended up proving to be the difference maker. It is Crooner who wins Group 2, Round 2 here in Jeddah. As LJ, and then it's LGEM, very respectable performance from the Mercedes driver, very solid race, very much under the radar, on those soft tires, able to steal that fastest lap potential down in third place. Very solid drive from him, started P4, kept the race very much under control and to himself. Very solid drive, as Danny Stillers will come to the line to finish P4. Obviously, that incident late in the very, very intense battle with Husky 13 made for a very interesting show, but very solid drive from Danny Stillers to finish in P4. Now, Husky in that Ferrari certainly could have finished better, but will be okay in P5, will not steal back that fastest lap from LGEM, and will finish, followed by Reese Foot Gaming in P6, Formula Jonah, who ultimately ended up saving Crooner and allowing him to win that race from P7, and Worried Cloud in P8. Oh, I need a shower after that. I can see why people don't commentate on their own, but certainly a great day. Driver of the day, Danny Stillers, I believe going from 7th to 4th. Again, a very respectable drive, but certainly a very, very interesting race, as we have the Red Bull driver coming out of that tunnel there to celebrate on that podium. So yeah, it's Red Bull from Haas, from Mercedes, and that fastest lap from LGEM. Dorcas Gunnar asked to be called Spinner. I don't think they'll do that because I feel like that would be slightly rude. But that means that Crooner will take the lead of the Drivers' Championship by, I saw, 1 point from Bamboo Vegas. And that will certainly make for a very interesting rest of the season, as these two drivers are very, very close together on pace. Yeah, again, it's Crooner from Bamboo Vegas, LGEM with the fastest lap of the race, taking home that extra point in third. Danny Stillers, followed by Husky, Reese Foot, Formula Jonah, Worried Cloud, and then your DNFs from Speedy Gunner, who very much struggled with tire wear and tire overheating, Ericsson Ethan, and Luke 2 Red. Whew. So, very much a pleasure to have you around. I'm going to see if we are going... I don't know if we will be doing an post-race interview for Group 2 here, but certainly, if there is, I will see if I can pull them in. And if not, it's certainly been a good race. Definitely glad to have my first go at commentating here in Group 2. But it was certainly a very, very interesting race. And again, if you're looking to potentially jump into league racing, we have a number of open spots here in Group 2 for you to join. So, if you're interested, there will certainly be a link in the video if you're watching to our Discord server for to go in, go through the brief sign-up process, just through some time trial on a couple of tracks if you haven't done any league racing before, and we'd be happy to see you on track in the future. I need a drink of water after that. It's also like, probably about 85 or 33 degrees in my room, but certainly an interesting race, and very fun to commentate. Let's see. Let's see. So I'll at least see if I can jump into a party with some of the drivers. I believe it was largely the midfield. Let me see if I can jump in to that group. Alright. Hello, gentlemen. How was that race? For the most part.
Pretty good.
Pretty good until I fucked up with Danny.
Yeah, I was able to catch it on stream. That was a very close battle between the two of you there. Potentially a little bit of desperation going up the inside, or just slightly mistiming it?
No, I I mistimed it and looked up, so I crashed into Danny, and then trying to get onto power, I spun it again against the wall.
Yeah, but certainly
But
a
I
great
put on
battle.
some really nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
put on some nice move from Danny and Jonah as well after the virtual safety car rules.
yeah, of course there was. Obviously, there was the struggle on the hard tires on the opening lap, just a struggle for traction and heat there, I'm guessing.
A little bit, yeah. But it worked out in the
All right.
end, having frosted tires. But of course, Elliot just had to ruin my fastest lap attempt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
my
actually
bad, bro.
we actually have him here, the Mercedes driver, finishing on the podium. Fairly uneventful race, I would say, but certainly had solid pace early to keep with those two at the front. Just quick word on your race.
I can't remember who was in front of me. I think it was Kruma. I was trying to. Them two were in a DRS battle for like half the race, so I didn't really have a chance. I lost a bit of pace, and then that was that. I had a very lonely race.
Till you found me at one point.
Yeah,
Yes.
mate, I messed up my pit as well. So like,
Uh,
I just got out in front of you.
yeah, certainly very interesting race to watch all around. Especially that DRS battle in the front that turned into a 1/10 of a second gap between the two drivers at the end there. And I
Yeah,
believe
who actually won it? Because there was some confusion for us.
Bamboo Vegas had a 5 second penalty from speeding in the pit lane. And then Crooner won it on track at least after penalties were applied by just over a tenth. I believe
So
was
Crooner won it.
Yes. So Crooner won from Bamboo Vegas. I believe Jonah, if I'm not mistaken, might have been the difference maker there, as he gave DRS to Crooner on that last lap that otherwise might have gave the win to Bamboo.
Ooh.
But certainly a very interesting race, and thank you for swinging by. Yeah, once again, thank you for swinging by, and certainly hope to see you next weekend. I believe for Group 2 would be in Miami, if I can check the calendar quickly. Yes, so September 5th, we will be in Miami for Group 2, so certainly tune in for that. And if you want to see Miami now, go take a look at Group 1, again, commentated by Formula Jonah, who's very, very difficult to live up to. But again, thank you for swinging by, and hope you have a great rest of your day, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and have a good one.